Well. Thank you for the detail.
Does that all go in the book?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was proud of that car. It hurt when that woman destroyed
It was a creation. It was a piece of artwork. It was a machine that you crafted out of your desires and wants.
Right, and I wasn't ashamed of it. I mean, if I'd done a lousy job, I wouldn't have cared so much maybe, but I was really careful and it worked well.
Okay, so back we go to life now. We're in Hazard at this point in time, and I think you were ready to start maybe looking at your next move or something like that.
Yes, we were. Ardith was pushing me a little. At this point, we'd been there 3 years by the time I started working on this car. And I was thinking about it. And then events sort of took hold on their own.
Ardith, what was going through your head at that moment? What were you feeling? What were you thinking?
I just didn't want him to think about staying in Hazard, Kentucky for the rest of our lives. Because he had promised that this was a fairly short, no more than 3 years. We were going to stay in Hazard, Kentucky. That was the promise when we first arrived. Of course, then I adapted, and toward the end of our time there, became president of the garden club, and all those members of the garden club said, just like every other outsider, she's leaving.
Yes. Well, I think I mentioned before that most weeks we would head to Lexington on Friday morning in order to arrive in time for lunch in the department, and lunch would be a faculty meeting.
This was on Friday you would get into Lexington?
Friday, yeah. On most Fridays, we went to Lexington. This was part of the deal I made with the department chair to get me to go to Hazard. We get a little bit of country relief by coming to the big city. So that meant Ardith would drop me off at the university, and she'd have the afternoon to herself, do whatever she wanted, shopping, lunch at a nice restaurant, whatever she wanted to do. I would have lunch that was served during faculty meeting, just sandwiches and drinks. And then I would have a class or two to teach in the afternoon in Lexington. And this last year, this would have been 1975, I guess. I was team teaching with a physician epidemiologist. We were teaching epidemiology to medical students. And I came into class with her and we started. I noticed there was an older man sitting in the back of the classroom that I'd never seen before. So I asked her if she knew that way. She said, "Oh yes." She said, "I'll explain that to you after. He's going to be there during the meeting." It was her father. Her father was Dr. John Morley, who had just recently retired as the director of health for the city of Akron. Remember, the Morley Health Center was named after him. So John's daughter, Jane Cochin, is the person I was teaching with, was there. He sat through the class, and then at the end of the class, she introduced us, and the first thing he said was, he looked at me and says, "You need to come to Akron." I said, "What?" He said, "You need to come to Akron." And then he explained that he had retired 4 or 5 months previously, and the brand new medical school had hired him to help them begin to determine how the medical school should best interact with the broader health community. Because the new medical school was calling itself a community-based medical school. It was a new medical school that was not building a medical center, but rather partnering with existing major hospital systems instead of creating their own for teaching purposes. But they said there's more to community than that, and we need to understand it. So he was charged with exploring the state of the art at that time.
Okay, we're going to reset. Hold on just a sec.
Recording stopped.